Thank you, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Women of Sweet Swine County, where we share small town stories with big town attitude. And I'm so excited today to welcome my co-host, the one and the only Sally Sue from the Cockaboo Morning Show.
I am so excited to be here.
Really?
Yes, I know that we've had our differences in the past.
We have.
But this has been just a wonderful opportunity for me. But, honey, I'm not sure how Bobby Ray is going to deal with this.
You know, I was wondering about that too. Since we are the #1 rated talk show here in Sweet Swine County, I was wondering how Bobby Ray was going to react to that.
Excuse me, you're the #1?
We are the #1, honey.
I don't think so. You and your little black crow. Yes.
That was a nice gift, wasn't
Yes,
it?
oh, it was wonderful. Yes. And speaking of which, where are the little Nicole and Paris at?
Well, Sally Sue, they called me this morning and said that they wouldn't be able to be here because they were attending an open house at Purdue University.
Really?
You know our Purdue University,
yes,
right here
it's
in Sweet Swine County.
Definitely, it's a wonderful little community college.
It is.
And they went to the open house. Isn't
They
that
did.
grand?
That's what they said they did. I mean, they could be out shopping, who knows, but that's what they
where
tell
they're
me.
at.
And you know, there
Well.
is an open house at Purdue University this weekend, yes.
Oh. One of the parts that I like about your show is the part where you read emails from
viewer
your
emails,
viewers.
right?
Yes. Do you have one?
I have one.
Could we hear it?
Yes, you may.
Oh,
Ladies and
wonderful.
gentlemen, it's time for another viewer email that asks,
Ladies, are you listening?
Dear ladies, you're going to love me for telling you about the most incredible store I discovered while walking downtown in Laverne, Minnesota. I stopped into Hallstrom Glass Studio and Art Gallery, and I was amazed at Prairie Ann Hallstrom's talented stained glass creations. She really specializes in making custom stained glass windows, but also an expert in antique window restoration and reproduction. Her beautiful gallery also features colorful exhibits of original artwork, jewelry, and gift items made by local and regional artists. And you can even learn how to create your own art by taking a variety of classes that are taught by artists in the gallery loft. Let me tell you, I spent hours in Lori's studio and gallery looking at so many wonderful things. They also offer interior design assistance for both your home and office, as well as an art leasing program for commercial clients. So if you want to have a great adventure, visit Hallstrom Glass Studio and Art Gallery at 208 East Main in Laverne. And so there you have it, another viewer email that asks,
Ladies, are you listening?
our fans are the best, aren't they, Sally Sue?
Oh, yes, always.
Oh, and
always.
honey, would you do me the honor of introducing our next guest, please?
Oh, I would
It's
love
been so
to.
fun having you here
Oh,
today.
I know.
I think I like you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that great?
So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today comes from the county of Faribault and the town of Blue Earth. Would you welcome Al Travis?
Woo!
Appreciate you having me on the show. Absolutely love this program. One of my favorite shows of all time.
See?
Really?
Mr. Between the Lines
Really?
loves the women of Sweet Swine County. Giddy up.
That bites.
Oh, honey, you'll be okay.
I loved it. When I found out Prairie Ann and Paris invited me on, I thought it was just outstanding. I couldn't wait to get on.
Not Paris.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nicole. My bad. I'm sorry.
Not Nicole. Really?
I'm sorry.
It's Sally Sue.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
You are on
Yes.
the #1 rated show in Sweet Swine
yes.
County.
So
But you
people
know what?
know everyone's
You know
name.
what? Enough
Yeah.
about us. We need to talk to Al about
Yes.
Between the Lines and
Well, it's a little program I do. It's nothing as fancy as this, but it's a little program we do about politics, and we do it. I actually live in Blue Earth, just outside of Sweet Swine County, one of the nicest small towns outside of the county.
So, Al, who have you had on your show as past interviewers?
Oh, we've had all kinds of folks. We started out really local, and we had mayors on and that sort of city
Oh.
councilmen. But since we went statewide, I suppose it's been 6 or 7 years ago now. It's basically representatives and senators, statewide politicians.
Oh, interesting.
We've had both our state senators on, Al Franken and Ms. Klobuchar. We've had actually 2 presidential candidates on. Now, They weren't at the time, but
Wow, but
we weren't
that's
that
really
big.
great.
Had Tim
And maybe
Pawlenty
because
and-
they were on your show that they got enough exposure to be presidential candidates,
Well,
right?
that's what we like to go with. Absolutely. We get them on, and then they become somebody.
Okay, so you said you had Tim Pawlenty, and who else did
Oh,
you
and,
have?
and Michelle Bachmann,
Wow.
who is still in the
Really?
race as we speak now. So we're very excited about that. She's still on there.
Yes.
And we're always looking for more and exciting and bigger guests and that sort of thing. And I can't talk about who we're currently working with to get on, but it does rhyme with Schmidt's Momney.
Really?
Yes, so we are very excited about trying to
That
get
would
on
be
the program.
awesome.
That would be.
It would be.
Now,
Yes.
Al, I know this probably couldn't even happen, but so to speak, if you were somebody that weren't watching your show,
Yes, there are people.
I can't imagine anybody that's not watching your show, but if there was like one person out there that wasn't watching your show, how would we find you?
Well, we're on in just about any cable household in Minnesota. If you get cable, you can get our program. Charterville, it's generally Channel 14.
Is it on every day, once a week, every hour?
Depending, you're going to have to get a hold of your local cable operator.
Okay. So just local cable access channel or charter?
Charter has a Charter channel, they call it, and we're on there 4
Okay.
times a day with Charter. In the Metro, they have a thing called Metro 6, and most of the Minneapolis-St.
Well,
Paul
that's
area
why
gets
they're
it.
becoming presidential candidates. If you're on 4 times a day,
Well,
Wow.
it's a cute story. It works for us, but we actually had what they call in the business, a little shop talk, 100 share a week ago Monday during the World Series.
Really?
100 share. That means every single television that was on in the Metro
Wow.
was watching my program, and that has never happened before, but it
Wow.
happened with us.
Congratulations.
Yes, it seems that
Oh,
when they go to the emergency broadcast system
Yes,
tone
yes,
thing,
yeah.
it switches to Channel 6 up the Metro, and we happen to be playing at the time,
That's awesome.
right there during the World Series. My own dad called and said, "Why are you wandering Dances with the Stars?" Which, sad my dad was watching it, but let's be honest, Chaz Bono was still on, and we got to see how he get kicked off. So, yeah, we had 100 share for 60 seconds, and I'm sure everybody was throwing crap at their TV, but that's all right.
That's okay. You had
It
the
is what it
100
is.
share, yes.
The other way to get hold of us is online, of course. BTL for Between the Lines, MN, Minnesota, BTLMN.com. And you go right to all our old episodes.
so were you a political junkie when you were a little kid? Has this always been, or is it, when did this
Nixon.
start? Nixon
Nixon.
I
started you
honestly
on that
remember the
whole
first thing I did, I was sat and watched the Nixon hearings when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
I
just-
remember my mom sitting in her chair, and I'd come home from school, and she'd be glued to the TV to the Nixon hearings, and she'd be like throwing stuff at the TV, and I'm like, what's going on here?
I knew it was important. I had to include what was going on. But I remember that as the first political thing I did. I remember asking my folks sometime who they were voting for and not knowing why they were voting for them, except the name sounded better
Sure.
or different. I mean, I didn't.
Sure.
But as then you grow up, you start getting into that sort of thing.
So
and
you've always had a liking for politics, and
it probably started.
It's been in your soul forever then.
The TV part hasn't. I think it started with the cat story. I've ever told you the cat story?
No, what is that?
The cat
Sounds
story, one of the
interesting.
first shows we did when we were just local and playing in our own little small town, we had done it in Fairmont, Minnesota. And I had the mayor on, and the mayor at the time was talking about the new cat leash law they had for just a scotch of time. I said, there's no way in the world that's going to fly. And he goes, no, we've got to protect people from roaming cats.
Seriously.
And
gotta get those cats on
Sandboxes problems and all that. And it was 1 week later that we came and did our show again, and there was a poor story in the paper about a poor old lady that ended up in the hospital as she tried to unlock her cat from the leash, and it went a little cat crazy. Another woman's fine. That was not the funny part of the story, but it was what made me think this could be kind of fun to find out the crazy
And
stuff
that's
people
true
do.
politics, isn't it? Absolutely.
Somebody complained about their cat box being used, and so we made a law, dang it. And a week later, some old lady's in the hospital because she's been clawed by the cat. I found this would be something good for me.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. So the scope of your program is to cover any political agenda or...
Cindy Lou, I'm glad you asked. Thank you. What's cool about the program, I think, is that we give a politician, instead of what you see on CNN or Fox or MSN, they get 8 minutes. You get this guy on for 8 minutes, you got to figure out everything he stands for in 8 minutes.
Yes.
And that, so it's soundbite politics.
Exactly. It drives me crazy because all of a sudden you're just getting to know them and you're liking what they're saying. It's like, oh, we got to go now.
Yeah.
And we take the entire half hour. We'll generally have just one guest, unless we do a
Nice.
topic. And literally we'll take that person and if we've not had them on the show before, we do a little rapid fire 10 questions just to find out likes and dislikes. That's kind of fun to get to know them. And then after that, it literally is just the main topic, one topic until that's beaten to death.
Yeah.
And then the next
Yeah.
topic. So hopefully when they leave our show, you have a half an hour and say, you know what, I could I'd like to have a beer with that guy, or I could
Sure,
vote for that
sure,
guy,
sure.
and you get a feel
Understand.
for it. So it really is just getting in depth. Now, that being said, sometimes it might be a little, you're for political files. Now, what I like about it, we have an election year coming up, and there'll be a ton of people running for office, and it gives you an opportunity to say, I just watched for half an hour this person. We're not slamming television. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I'm not trying to trip them up in any way, but just ask the pertinent questions that hopefully you all and I want to know.
Well, it's a different
Absolutely.
venue than what you get from the national coverage, because the national coverage has an agenda most of the time, and you sound like you just are opening it up and giving them that intimate talk with the candidate. Then.
I find it weird, like with Michelle Bachmann and even Senator Al Franken. They're on absolutely two ends of the spectrum. And I have people come to me all the time and ask me, how can you have that person on your show?
Yes.
Well, once you get to meet them, Michelle Bachmann, a salty lady, a very nice lady. She's not the devil. For those that think she's the devil, she's really not.
Sure.
Al Franken on the other side, very funny individual. Not the devil. I mean, you can, but
yes.
would you ever vote for him? Well, that's what I want you to get at the end. You get to find out who they are as people. You get to vote for them for whatever reasons you
You
choose.
get to decide on your own.
Yes.
Oh no, you two, I'm afraid that my producer has just given me the sign that we are out of time, so I need to wrap it up. Dang it.
That's
I
too
wanted to
bad.
hear so much more about your show, Al.
I appreciate you both having me on. I really do. Thank you very much.
Everybody check out Between the Lines, and remember, we share small town stories with big town attitude, for we are
The women of Sweet Swine County.
Bye-bye for now.